Habits, they're the foundation of change, and they're going to lead you to the life circumstances you want. In this video, I want to explore with you how thoughts are related to the habits you're working to create. Yes, habits are about your behavior, but since thoughts are the foundation of your behavior, you can't have success with habits without also working with your thoughts. Now, it's a well understood principle of neuroscience that your thoughts lead to your emotions, which in turn lead to your behavior. Your behavior creates your habits, which then create your extended life circumstance. Now, for example, if you want to become someone who eats and moves in ways that bring health and vitality, you have to possess the thoughts of someone who eats and moves in these ways. Now, I used to believe that I was a glutton who would always have to battle and control myself with food for the rest of my life. As long as those were my thoughts, that was my reality. Henry Ford famously said, "Whether you think you can or can't, you're right." If you believe you're too old to achieve health and fitness, you are. If you believe that planning and prepping your food is too hard, it is. If you believe that it's too complicated to learn how to nourish your body, it is. If you believe things don't work out for you, they don't. Whatever you believe to be true creates your emotional state, or you could say your energy towards something. And you will always act consistently with your thoughts and energy. Now, once in a while, you might harness your willpower to act differently, but by and large, you're going to act as you believe. Now, another point to understand is something called confirmation bias. And this means that whatever we believe to be true already, it causes us to see the world through that lens. If we believe that people aren't interested in us or find us boring, we're not going to make eye contact, we're not going to start conversations, and we're going to interpret neutral faces as unapproving of us. So if you believe you're destined to be overweight, out of shape, you're going to assume this is going to be the case no matter what. And what does a person destined to be overweight do? Well, I know what they don't do. They don't stick with healthy food choices or stay committed to a workout program. That's for sure. Confirmation bias is like wearing a pair of glasses that causes you to see the world as if your beliefs are true and to ignore any evidence that your beliefs aren't true. It's these glasses we have to change if we're going to think, feel, and act like a new person. Now, if you want to develop new habits, you first have to develop a new pair of glasses. It's pointless to set about changing your behavior if your underlying operating system isn't aligned with the behavior that you want to adopt. We always act consistently with our underlying belief system, and that's why I say you absolutely, unequivocally, must work on your operating system to be successful with behavior change in the long term. Said in a different way, the only habits you can create are the ones that are consistent with the picture you hold of yourself. Take a minute to see if that's true. Look at the habits you have right now. Pause the video and then list 3 habits, good or bad. Then ask if who you see yourself to be is consistent with these habits. I bet it is. Now, here's an example from my own world. I have a beautiful habit of spending time with myself 95% of all mornings in a morning practice that lasts anywhere from 5 to 90 minutes. And this was really a struggle for me to create. It was a struggle for me because my underlying operating system or my underlying truth was I had to get everything done, everything important done before I could spend time on myself. You know, I was this go-getter and achiever that let nothing stand in my way, right? Silly things like quiet time and meditation, they felt like something that could only be engaged in when everything else had been tended to. This meant I struggled for years to create this quiet, unproductive time for myself. But once I changed the view of myself to be a person who valued my intuitive knowledge and the peace that my morning practice brought me, then it became easy to devote the first moments of my day to connecting with myself. I also stopped putting my value on how much I achieved, how many things I checked off my to-do list. So spending quiet time with myself was no longer something that detracted from my worth. Now, I also have a habit of putting together a food bag when I travel or when I'll be away from the house for an extended period of time. I used to believe that it was just too hard for me to stick with my food goals when I was away from home. So planning and packing food for myself didn't happen. It was too hard after all, right? Changing my underlying operating system to be, I'm someone who values my body so much that I can always find ways to nourish it with nutritious food. Then it became easy to research and find food that was easy for me to pack and take the time to pack that food and have it with me on the go. Let's take another example from a former client, Cheryl. She used to hold the belief that no matter what she tried, things would never work out for her. Even though she was showing up to her sessions, having some real success with changing certain behaviors, she could only see the things in life that she hadn't yet accomplished. She stayed stuck with minimal success until she changed her story to be one that said, if I can continue to apply myself and celebrate my wins, things can work out for me. I already see where it's happening. Anne struggled to find time in her life to be consistent with working out and planning her meals. And as we explored her excuses and beliefs, she realized that she thought as the mother of her household, she had to make sure everyone else had what they needed first before she could put attention on what she needed. And once she changed this underlying operating system and made her health a priority, she was amazed at all the possibilities she found for giving herself time and energy. So as you explore your own excuses and beliefs, you may be surprised at what your underlying thought patterns actually are and how powerfully they have been at work, keeping you stuck in old patterns that you may have felt powerless to change. Once you identify the thoughts that are out of alignment with your goals, what do? How do you shift them? Well, step one would be to state your misaligned excuse and belief, right? Sometimes your excuses and beliefs, they might be the same or they might be slightly different but related. So for example, you might have an excuse that says, every time I start to follow a food plan, I always get off track. What's the point? The belief is that it's so hard to plan ahead with my food. There's simply too many things going on for me, right? Question two would be, how is this belief hurting me? Well, it causes me to fail to plan and prep, which means I'm not nourishing my body with the food it needs to be strong and healthy. Question three, am I ready to see things differently? Yeah, so ready. Question four, what do I need to embrace to let go of this belief? Well, I need to embrace the understanding that I'm important and my health is important. It may be true that I am busy, but in truth, I find room for a lot of things because they're easy or because I've made them a priority. If I make nourishing my body a top priority, I will be able to plan and prep my food. Question five, what's the new belief I'm ready to adopt? Maybe something like, my health is a top priority for me. Using the latter approach to change, I will be able to find time to establish a plan that works best for me and follow through with it. Understanding the importance of your underlying beliefs as you work to establish helpful habits for yourself is really critical to your success. But it's also only the very tip of the iceberg in the comprehensive approach to overcoming emotional eating. Overcoming and ending your struggles with food and body are primarily about three keys. Number one, working with your habituated pathways that really drive you to seek food for comfort. Number two, working with your nervous system to stop looking to food to calm stress and anxiety. And number three, learning to feel and process your emotions without needing to turn to food to avoid or cope with them. I've developed a set of free resources that talk about these three keys in depth, and you can download these resources below this video. No matter who you are or how long you've struggled with food and body challenges, you can achieve freedom when you have the right information, tools, and support. So download the resources below and take your first step towards your freedom today.